Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Friday, one day away from Arsenal versus Newcastle at the Emirates tomorrow lunchtime, 12:30. Going to be a cold one. Wrap up warm if you are going. Want to talk really about that game in today's video. Obviously, been building up to it throughout the week. Wanted to sort of look at the possibility of rotation, look at my predicted 11, that sort of thing. Looking at some of the key decisions Mikel Arteta's got to make out of that game. Joe Willock's return as well. So a few things to talk about. First of all, a bit of breaking news just before I came on to record this. It was announced that Newcastle have confirmed that Eddie Howe will be in charge for the first time at the Emirates, which means Arsenal look like they are going to be facing a new manager. 2 games on the bounce. Going to be Eddie Howe on Saturday and then Ralph Rangnick next Thursday. Looks like that will be done and dusted and he will be in charge, placed as interim manager of Manchester United. So bit of unlucky, sort of a bit of bad luck there really for Arsenal. No one really wants to play the first game against a new manager. That whole new manager bounce. Eddie Howe obviously has been in charge for a while for Newcastle, but he missed last weekend's game against, what was it, Brentford, the 3-0, wasn't it, because of COVID. So Jason Tindall was in charge, but Howe has provided a negative COVID test this morning, and so Newcastle have now confirmed that he will be in charge at the Emirates for the first time. So that's going to be added a little bit of spice for Arsenal. Newcastle players obviously going to want to do well for the new manager, something Arsenal are going to have to deal with. But you would still hope that they can certainly deal with it anyway against the Newcastle side. Yet to win in the Premier League this season. They can score goals, Newcastle. They showed that last week against Brentford. They got some decent forwards. I really like Callum Wilson. We all know about Alan Saint-Maximin, what he can provide. So they can score goals. They can cause you problems, but they do concede a lot. Newcastle defence isn't great. Midfield isn't great. And you'd hope that Arsenal have got enough to get past them on Saturday and get themselves back to winning ways after that that Liverpool defeat last weekend. They really need it. I've spoken about it a few times in the videos this week, how big I feel like this game is for Arsenal, given they go to Manchester United and then Everton afterwards. Got to get back to winning ways, sort of put that defeat against Liverpool behind them, get back to winning ways this weekend, and then go into that United game next Thursday with some confidence, because it is not going to be an easy matchup at Old Trafford. We know that Arsenal struggle there anyway, and then you've got the added sort of storyline of the new manager syndrome. So big game for Arsenal this weekend. Interesting, is Mikel going to start a little bit of rotation now? We've seen throughout the season so far, certainly since the end of the first transfer window, at the end of the first international break and after the close of the transfer window, we've pretty much, barring a couple, maybe, you can pick Arsenal's 11. You know the goalkeeper's going to be, you know the back four is going to be. That was before Tierney's injury. With Xhaka's injury, you kind of know the midfield's going to be Sambi and Granit Xhaka. You know Smith Rowe's going to play, Saka, Aubameyang. The team pretty much picks itself at the moment, because Arsenal don't have any games midweek, any European games, that sort of thing. It's just pretty much Saturday to Saturday or Saturday to Sunday, whatever day Arsenal are playing. You kind of know who Mikel is going to pick. He's got a settled starting 11, which is a good thing in a way, because you just have that sort of continuity and the players really get to know each other, certainly defensively. But you kind of feel now we're heading towards December. The game's coming thick and fast. It's starting to come thick and fast, even for Arsenal, who aren't in Europe. Like I said, you play Saturday this week, then it's Thursday night, then it's Monday night. And then by the time you finish that Everton game, then you really start looking forward ahead to those festive fixtures when the games do start coming even more quickly, as we know, during the English calendar. So is it going to be the first time this season we're really going to see some rotation? Are we going to start seeing some of the players who haven't really been getting any minutes this season? Are they going to start playing? Nicolas Pepe, Gabriel Martinelli, are they going to start being involved? Are we going to see Martin Odegaard come back in? I think we'll certainly see Kieran Tierney come back in this weekend instead of Nuno Tavares. Is he going to change things around defensively a little bit? Would we see a Rob Holding come in for a game or two? It's going to be interesting. This is what Mikel had to say yesterday when he was asked about rotation and whether it's something that he's thinking about. And he said, absolutely, the minutes and the performance level of the individuals and the impact that you can have on the bench, the impact you can have off the bench, the moment you want to change a team, the alternatives that you need, because normally in this period, injuries start to come, suspensions as well. We already have a few players close to that. So everybody has to be ready, because it's going to be key, the contribution that they can make to sustain the level and results. And I certainly look at some of those players that I mentioned going forward as well. Martinelli, barely has had a look this season in the Premier League, certainly. Is it time for him to start getting some more minutes ahead of Christmas? And certainly January, when Aubameyang goes, you think he's going to need to be up to speed. Pepe as well, who's not really getting much of a look in at the moment, certainly since the sort of first few weeks of the season. And it's going to be interesting to see what Mikel does. I'm not sure we'll see it for the first time tomorrow. I think the changes that we'll see, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I think Tierney comes in for Tavares. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. Maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles might get a run out, but I'm not sure. Sambi will probably play. And potentially Odegaard for Lacazette, that swap. So I think if you're sort of pinning me down and demanding my starting 11, I would probably say Tierney starts, and I've got a feeling we might see Odegaard. Sambi, interestingly, is only 1 yellow card away from suspension now. He's on 4. Obviously, if he gets 5, he misses 1 game. So it'll be interesting if Mikel sort of takes that into account at some point. Arsenal next game is against Manchester United. If Mikel really wants to make sure that Sambi is going to play that game, then maybe he does get rested this weekend with Ainsley Maitland-Niles coming in. And Ainsley played very well, I thought, against Watford when he came in for that game. So, yeah, interesting to see what Mikel does, and if we are going to, for the first time this season, really see rotation come into the mix when it comes to Arsenal and their team selections. Team news wise, ahead of the game on Saturday for Arsenal, looking good, unless something's happened behind the scenes in training that we don't know about. Only really Granit Xhaka missing and Sead Kolasinac with that ankle injury. Sead wouldn't have been involved anyway. So, as frustrating and as horrible it is for him, it's no massive loss in terms of Arsenal's squad. But yeah, Granit Xhaka getting closer, but not there yet. So other than that, they're in good shape. And if anyone does miss out, it will be because of, Mikel's choice, barring anything happening behind the scenes that we don't know about in training, which can happen and can be kept under wraps. So that's in good news. In terms of Newcastle, Jason Tindall was speaking to the press. He says that Dwight Gale has a slight hamstring and that he'll be assessed today. And then he says, other than that, no new injury concerns for us, although they do still have a training session today. So, Dwight Gale, former Arsenal player, was in the academy. Not a lot of people know that, but he was. John Joe Shelby was as well, which I didn't even know until I found out today. Yeah, that's the latest team news from Newcastle. Joe Willock is fit and could be returning for the first time. Well, he will be returning for the first time since he made the move to Newcastle in the summer. I wanted to talk a little bit about that deal. I wrote a piece today actually that's gone live on Goal, so please do head over to goal.com afterwards and have a read of it, or go to my social medias because I posted the links on there as well. Sort of exploring that move in the summer, why Arsenal felt the time was right to cash in on Joe Willock, and sort of the process behind the loan deal initially to Newcastle, and why that deal is like basically the benchmark how Arsenal are operating now when it comes to utilising the loan market, because it's the loan market, and especially when it comes to Arsenal's academy players, is seen as a key revenue source for Arsenal. It's something they've been really poor at in recent years, and you've seen Chelsea move way ahead of everyone else with this, and make serious amounts of money from players who they've developed in their academy. They've sent out on loan, they've built them up to a certain standard, and then they've sold them and made huge amounts of money. Arsenal haven't been great at this. The only success story they've had from that really is Alex Iwobi, who obviously broke into the first team at Arsenal and then made the move to Everton for serious amounts of money, and that was a very good move for Arsenal. But this one, Joe Willock, was really interesting. The timing of it, obviously he scored all those goals last season. It was just a perfect decision to send him on loan last season, and his value just soared because of it. If Arsenal would have accepted a permanent bid from Newcastle last January for Joe Willock, they would have got about £10 million. In the end, they could end up getting about 25 million for Joe because of what he did while he was there. And that's why that's what Arsenal want to do more and more when it comes to the loan market with these academy players who they feel, obviously with academy players, the ideal situation, what everyone wants is them to progress, come through to the first team, Bukayo Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe, do what they've done, and then be mainstays in the first team for Arsenal going forward. But that obviously isn't going to happen all the time. It just can't. It doesn't work like that. And so what you want to do is develop them to a certain standard, then potentially move them out on loan so they get their experience in senior football. They have a fantastic loan spell, and then you sell them for decent money when the price is very much right. And that's exactly what they did for Joe Willock. And I know Joe obviously scored all those goals at the end of last season, and there was a lot of debate whether Arsenal should have cashed in on him or not. I always felt the timing was right to sell because I wasn't sure that he could sustain. Well, I knew he couldn't sustain what he was doing at Newcastle at the end of last season. We've seen so far. I mean, he hasn't scored a goal yet this season. Probably will now against Arsenal tomorrow, and you can all blame me for it. But he hasn't scored a goal or set up or got an assist yet this season for Joe Willock. And that's not to say he's not going to be a success at Newcastle. I hope he is, but I think it just shows that obviously the numbers he was producing last season weren't sustainable, and that's why Arsenal felt the decision was right when the bid came in from Newcastle to cash in and sell him and move on, and then that money can be reinvested in building a squad. And that's what they want to do more and more over the coming years. We see Daniel Ballard at the moment, and he's going to be a really interesting one. They've used the loan market really well for Ballard, who was fantastic at Blackpool last season in League One. Now he's in the Championship with Millwall, doing fantastically well there. Again, still got a couple of years left on his contract because they've got an option, Arsenal, that they're going to take out on Daniel Ballard, which give him an extra 2 years. They might well give him a new contract on top of that, an actual proper new contract on top of that, and then potentially look to sell. I know there's lots of interest in Ballard already. He's doing really well in the Championship, and he's playing well at international level for Northern Ireland. If he's not going to make it at Arsenal, which, let's face it, he might not. Arsenal have got young centre-backs already. Then you sell Ballard on and make a really good amount of money for him, which I think they certainly will do in the summer. They could do in the summer because there's going to be a lot of interest in him. And then you make a lot of money. So you've invested a lot of time and money into developing Ballard, and then you want to see a return on that investment. If he's not going to play for Arsenal, you sell him on for as well as you can. And that's where the loan market can be really, really key. And that's where Arsenal are really focusing their attentions at the moment. Ben Napper is the new loan manager. He's been there since 2018 in that position. Works really closely with Mikel Arteta, with Edu, with Per Mertesacker as well, to find the right loan clubs for these players. And then he stays in touch with them during the loan deal. And then when the loan deal's over, he'll sit down with Edu, Mikel, and they'll work out what to do. Is he good enough to play in the first team? If not, can we sell for as much money as possible and make a really good return like they did on Joe Willock? So, yeah, interesting to see Joe Willock back this weekend. Hope he has a fantastic career at Newcastle and goes on to be a good signing for them. But hopefully he doesn't have a good day on Saturday. In terms of Arteta's key decisions ahead of the game on Saturday, as I've sort of mentioned in previous videos, I just think it revolves around the left-back situation. Tavares struggled at Liverpool. We all saw the mistake. Playing very well. I just feel the time is right now to bring Tierney back into the side. Sambi, obviously one game away from a yellow card, as I said. Potentially got Ainsley Maitland-Niles in. And then I think the big one as well is Odegaard for Lacazette. Do you bring Odegaard back into the team now? You've taken him out for the last few. Lacazette's been playing pretty well, but you kind of feel like now is the right time potentially for Odegaard to come back in. So I think those are the big decisions for Mikel to make. Other than that, I think it's relatively simple in terms of what the team is going to be. I think it will predict. It kind of picks itself really. So this is my predicted 11 for the game at the Emirates on Saturday. As I said, this is just me kind of second guessing what Mikel is going to do. It's not based on any information I had. This isn't the team that I would pick. It's just the one I feel like Mikel is going to go for. So it's going to be Ramsdale and goal, Tomiyasu right back, Ben White and Gabriel the centre back. So I'm going to have Kieran Tierney at left back. I think we'll see Sambi and Thomas Partey in midfield, and then I'm going to go for Emile Smith-Rowe, Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So that's my predicted 11 to face Newcastle. Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel, Tierney, Sambi, Partey, Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, Saka and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Alright everyone, thank you very much for watching today's video. I appreciate your time as always. Agree with me, disagree with me, whatever it is, hit me up in the comments below. I always look forward to reading what you guys have to say. I will be at the Emirates tomorrow, so I'll try and do my usual stuff. If you can't make it, I'll try and do the live broadcast before the game, doing the team news, reacting to it, watching the warm-ups, and then I'll try and do player ratings after the game as usual. Have a very good Friday, everyone. See you tomorrow.